Okay, guys, I'm so excited for the next episode of our Hacking Games podcast. So today I've got Ricky Handschumacher with me. Now, look, Ricky represents so much of the story of a highly talented, bright kid who found a pathway of experimentation that led him into a world that became criminalized, and he paid the ultimate price for it. So Ricky's career began as kind of the all-American high school hero in a way. He was a high school baseball standout. He excelled at baseball with a batting average of nearly 400. But at the age of 16, like so many kids, he was loving playing computer games online, in particular Halo 3. And he experienced a live form of cheating where called standby, where he was kicked out, his screen went black mid-game, and he was suddenly killed. And that kind of sparked an interest. Like, what is happening to me? Why did I get nuked right then? So it led him to online forums. He started discovering gaming hacks and developed a burgeoning kind of hacking community that other people have lamed with lots of misnomers. And some people call it the con, some people don't. But he found his way into this community of people who are developing code and cheat codes and then developing hacking codes. And that really led into a 15-year path in that community, and it evolved into kind of major cybersecurity threats. So Ricky and his friends ended up developing techniques like social engineering and SIM swapping, and they started doing large-scale cryptocurrency thefts from exchanges and ultimately stealing millions of dollars. He even managed to exploit access within telecommunications companies to accelerate attacks. But it all came to a thudding, crashing stall. And convicted in 2021 at the age of 28, he'd been at it for nearly 15 years by that point. But he was convicted for wire fraud, and it was tied to the SIM swapping schemes, and he received a full-blown 48-month federal sentence. And this was a turning point for Ricky. Luckily, that time was reduced, but it was still a really significant time in the judiciary. And in his time in prison, he managed to reflect on the consequences of his actions, particularly as now Ricky has young kids, young kids which he can talk at, and he would have missed them at the early stages of their lives. He, of course, expressed great regret. He said, look, I was younger. It's not an excuse, but you can't understand what you're doing. And actually, in our conversations previously, what he said, which has really landed with us, is like, hey, I'm new to the good side. So Ricky's now committing his life and his personal time to directing kids like him to take the wrong path. Ricky, we're so happy to have you on the podcast, in the Virtue community, and here to kind of share your story and also help people understand what we can do for other kids like you in this generation. So welcome, man. It's great to have you on board.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. It's awesome to be here, get the word out, spread the word, make people aware. Just, like I said, when I was younger, I didn't fully grasp what I was doing. I knew I was wrong, but you think when you're young, 15, 16, you're getting millions of dollars and you're like, what crime am I really committing stealing crypto? Like, because it was very vague back then. It was like borderline, like, it's just a digital asset? Like, there's not really any tangible stuff to this. So like, what am I really going to get charged with? And like, that was my mindset, like way back in the day, so obviously
So
things
Ricky,
change now.
Ricky, I want you to, I want to hear your story. So,
Cool.
tell us how it started. Like what was your
Yeah.
road into this?
I was your average, athlete back in the day. I'd go speed skating. Baseball was my sport. Um, I played baseball since I was like 4 years old, all the way up in, high school, some college, this and that. But it, I could say the cyber stuff started when I was probably 14 or so. I was in maybe a sophomore in high school. And, just a normal day playing Halo 3. And then one day my screen just goes black and I'm like, what the hell just happened? I had no idea. And I come back and the game is over and they won the game. So naturally, I'm like, what the hell was that? And then, I didn't think anything of it. Or maybe, the game lag broke. It happened again and again and again. And I'm like, all right, now, like, I ask people, like, oh, it's standbying, like, it's sending like a DDoS attack to your router, flood your router. Not enough to like DDoS you offline and boot you, but it just sends enough to like overload your modem and it'll make you black screen and they stop the attack and then you're good to go. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, how do I do this? How do I find out about this? So, I ask around, I look around, do some research. I find a forum called Hack Forums. So I do some browsing on there. I see what it's called, DDoSing and standbying and this and that. But then, I do some more digging. I'm like, what else is on here? That's kind of cool. I come across like just original names, like stuff that like I would want on because back in the day there wasn't really like PlayStation really wasn't out yet, and like Steam and Xbox was like your go-to console back in the day. But like I couldn't just get Ricky on that console because someone had already had that, for example. So I see stuff like, oh, people are getting these original gamer tags. Like how do they do that? So I follow some people around. I listen. I learn. Now, the next thing you know, I'm like, I think I can do this. So back in the day, I think like your major emails were AOL email and Yahoo or something very simple. Turned out AOL, like all you needed to do was like provide them with a zip code on the file, and as long as you had the email, you're in. Um, it was a little harder than that, but you had to get the email to the account that you wanted to find. Which back in the day, there was a company called Zune. Like not a lot of people will remember this, but it was a music app that was linked with Microsoft, and all you would have to do is call Zune, and like halfway in the call, like you present them the gamer tag that you're targeting, like, hey, I want, my name's Ricky, I forgot the info to my account, and then be like, hold on, I have to go. Can I just get a reference number? They give you the reference number, then you can call Xbox with that reference number to verify the account, and they give you everything to the account. Which back in the day, AOL, Yahoo, very simple, minor security, So I started learning how to do that, and then some DDoSing attacks, but it wasn't like I was out to like take down websites and stuff like that. Just I wanted to cheat in the game against the people who were cheating me to just even the playing field a little bit. So once I learned that, then I learned how to take the accounts, and I'm like okay, cool. So I tried my first account. I think it was my first gamer tag was Wolverine, and that's the first one that I ever took. And then so I was like, well, I guess that's my alias, Wolverine. So I just went by Wolverine for a long time, uh, from like 2010 to probably 2015 or 16. Like that was just my alias. No one knew who I was, and that was it. Um, in that meantime, Instagram comes out, and Twitter is out, and stuff like that. So Instagram, it's all the same concept. Just get the email, you get the account, and um, my first Instagram was the username Bro, like just BRO. And it was funny because like one of my buddies was like, "Hey man, like when are you gonna stop doing Xbox and move on to Instagram? There's good money there." Because an Xbox account back in the day you could sell it for $200. Nowadays
Right.
they're thousands of dollars. So I learned how to do that, and then Instagram comes out. I'm like, okay. He's like, "Yo, just do these, do Instagram." I'm like, "All right, cool." He sends me the email on one of them. He's like, "Here, nobody can get this," and I'm like, "It's an AOL. Like, what do you mean nobody can get this?" So I ended up taking the AOL account, but then like I realized like when I reset the password to the Instagram, it wasn't there. It was a different email. So I'm like,
Mm.
all right, so I call AOL back, but I ended up taking that email was a master account to a bunch of other emails. So once I was able just to line up the stars and figure out the email, I'm in the master account already, so I just reset that account, and then boom, now now I was in the Instagram
Wow.
Bro. I swapped it over to like my account, and everybody was like messaging like my buddy, and they're like, "Hey, like, who is this kid? Like, how did he get like?" And my buddy's like, they're like, "Oh, that's a random ass guy. Who is he? Like coming into in here doing this?" And I'm like, my buddy's like, "Listen, that's not a random guy. Like, that's Ricky. Like, he knows what he's doing." And then from there, I just was like, "Wow, Instagrams are better than Xbox accounts." I did both, you know, but I'd rather just flex. I didn't really, the money was good when you sell them.
So Ricky, I mean, it sounds like you were making a ton of money at a super young age. Like, how much money were you making at that
Yeah, I mean, remember, I was in high school, freshman, sophomore, I like, baseball, but I would say $200 a day, maybe $400 a day because I would take one or two accounts. Some days I would take a day off and just play my game or something, or I had baseball or whatever the case may be. Um, So, I was making decent money for like a
point? Yeah.
teenager. Like, you don't
Right.
expect it to be like that. Like I said though, my speed skates, I had really nice skates. Baseball, like I said, I played t-ball. I was ranked like I think it was second in the state my junior year for stolen bases. I batted like 400.
Wow.
Same kind of deal my senior year. I was really good. Um, college wise, I played like in the off season for high school. I would play at a college with my high school team against other high school teams and like that. So um my I was like, hey, like, like how does college work? Like, where do I get offers? Like, I'm killing it. Like, I know, like, I'm really good at this point, and so I asked my college coach, he's like, or my high school coach, and he's like, he's like, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm like, all right. So I don't know any better. This is just my coach. I'm going to like college scouting, like invite onlys and stuff like that, and I'm playing, and I'm asking my coach, like, where's the offers? He's like, don't worry about it. I got you. End of senior year comes and I'm like, I didn't get any offers. Like that's crazy to me. And like, there's worse people. Like, no offense to them, but there's worse people
Yeah.
that like got offers and stuff. But it was really weird to me. Like, they kind of like black labeled me, I would call it, because my high school had a travel ball team on it, which was like they would just go to like around the state and travel and play together. Where I didn't join that team. I was on a different team for that. So I just wanted to go. I see these kids all the time in high school. I wanted to go have fun with my other friends. So,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like that was kind of part of it. Like I didn't join their team, and the assistant coach like hated me. Like they would taunt me. They'd be like, you're lucky. You're naturally good. You're a golden boy. Like you don't have to try for what some of these kids like. Some of these kids try, and they don't have the skill and the talent that you have. And I'm like, these are
Why
my
do you think?
coaches
Why do
saying
you
this to
think?
me.
Why do you think they were doing that?
I don't know because they just knew I was good. Like they couldn't not play me because in the county or like the state, like I was known, I was good. So like I just feel like it was like animosity and I don't know,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So he tells me to go to the college where we play this league at in the off season. He's like, and the college knows me at this point. Like they know who I am. I played with them for like 4 years now in the off season. So I go there, I try out, perfect tryout, nothing wrong, do everything fine. I don't make the team. So I'm
Hmm.
like, hold on, why? Like my high school coach told me to come here, and now I didn't make the team. Like, what's up with that? So the head coach is like, oh, we didn't see enough speed in you. Like, come back, work on your speed. And I'm like, right then and there, like I knew, like when he told me that, I was like, dude, like I run like a 6'3", 60-yard dash. Like I'm
Oh
ranked,
my God!
like
You mean they meant leg speed? They didn't mean hand speed.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ah.
So I knew right there that it was kind of like a like an excuse for something because there's no way you're telling me I didn't make the team because of my speed.
So was that the end of your baseball pathway?
Yeah, that was it. I played a little bit here, like just for fun, but like ultimately that was kind of it.
So at the same time, you were obviously making money through kind of the hacking on the as you just described. So was it a choice? Was it like, well, baseball's coming to an end, and the cards are
Yeah,
stacked against me, so I'm just going to double down
yeah,
on this, and this door is open, right?
yeah. Baseball was coming to an end, and like I said, that was probably like let's say like 18 or 19 at this point now, and I'm like, like
Mhm.
what do I do now? Like, I did some college, but like after the semester, I was like, this is like I don't care to go to college if I'm not playing baseball. So I
Right.
was like, whatever, I'll just get a job and stay home and hack.
So and like tell me the journey of that though. So you started off with the kind of $200 here, $500 here. It starts to gain a bunch of traction. You
Yeah.
feel you're natural at it, right? You felt natural to you, and
Yeah,
were you
felt
kind of a bit stimulated by the fact that you got rejected by the baseball community and it felt unfair? So you was kind of like, well, screw
yeah. I
that,
mean,
I'm
I,
gonna
I
go.
felt it was unfair. I knew it was unfair because like after seeing some of the kids like they get offers to go to like like not D1 schools or anything, but like a D3 school, and I didn't even get to
Mhm.
go to a community college, and like I
Mhm.
know like statistically like I was better than them, and I'm like that like I just got like a sour taste in my mouth about it. I was like, man, like this is it's not right, like my talent kind of just went to waste because for no reason.
So tell us what happened from then with the hacking.
So yeah, so Xbox, Instagram, Twitters, all the same thing. The usernames they all sell for money. And then one day, my buddy was like, "Hey, like we could just do the same thing with crypto." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "And SIM swapping was kind of fresh at that point. It wasn't like too big yet." So he's like, we can just SIM swap them. And I'm like, "What?" Because like we were to go after the AOLs and the Yahoos and just your simple like even your Outlook, like Live, all that stuff, they were all pretty simple to take, like security questions back in the day. Like no one had two-factor, nobody thought of anything like that. So we were like, yeah, okay, like let's do it. So we would just search, like how we found our victims. We would search on Twitter because this is, nowadays they have databases and stuff of people. But
Mhm.
back in the day, we would have to like manually search like hashtag Bitcoin or hashtag BTC or ETH on Twitter and find people talking about that subject. Or, your YouTubers and stuff who all want to be influencers and they're showing their wallets off. They're showing where they hold their money. They're doing interviews with, Yahoo and stuff like that about where they have money and everything. And it's just like, okay, these guys are like literally presenting us where all the money is and all we gotta do is take their emails and hope for the best because we already know where the money is at this point. So
And at the time, did you feel like they were a victim? Did you know that you were harming people? What was your psychology of it?
no, I mean it was really kind of like blank. Like there was no like I knew it was wrong, but like I said in the beginning, like wasn't really wrong because like you're only taking a digital asset. You're not taking anything
Right.
like tangible. You're not home invasioning and stealing their safe type of thing. So it was like, what crime is that? Like, where does that fall under? So,
Mhm.
you're a young teenager, that's your mindset, and you're thinking about that, like, oh, I'm untouchable. Like, there's not even a real crime for that. Like, let's run it up and see what we can, no one really thought about like the circumstances of it.
And how did you come across the buddy, this mysterious buddy who kept coming up with new ideas? Like, how did you meet him?
So me and him knew each other, like way back in the day. He dabbled in Xbox and, PlayStation and stuff, and
But you met in the
like we,
hacking forums or you met in real life?
no, 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 just online.
Okay.
Um, so. Like our like we knew of each other. Our first interaction was like he ended up taking a PlayStation name and then I didn't know he took that name and then I took the name from him. And that's kind of how like we became friends. Like he was like, "What the hell, man?" I'm like, "Yo, sorry, bro." Like
Yeah, yeah.
so, that's where me and him started and then, we're still friends to this day. Like that's one of my best friends online. He's like really, really talented in HackerOne, like bug bounty programs and stuff like that. And he's really good. Um
Cool.
so he goes by the name Doc.
And
Um
so
so
it started escalating. The size of the bounties started escalating when you got into the crypto side.
yeah, so it got to the point you gotta think back then Bitcoin's like $3,000 maybe. Ethereum's maybe a couple $100. So if you were able to run up a couple $1 million back then, like you know, you were somebody because I know people do like a little hit here, a little hit there, but there was not that many people stealing millions and millions because you needed a lot of crypto to get to that point. Like nowadays, they steal 5 Bitcoins and they're at $600,000. Like that's crazy. Where it got to the point with me where if they only had 5 Bitcoins, I would just leave it. Like man, I don't like they need that more than me. Like that's not worth it to me.
And what was there like a an ethical line in it? Like you just implied there that you took a decision. Well, it's only a little bit.
No.
I'm not going to take. No, you were just taking whatever you could get.
It wasn't even ethical. It was just like, man, like fuck this. Like that's not even enough for me. Like
Got it. Yeah, yeah. And by that point, tell me about the community you were involved with online. I mean, like, was it
so
just the two of
yeah,
you guys, or were you part of a broader group?
well, so he wasn't even really in my group. Like it was more of like a network. Like this guy was known for having SIM cards in the phone. These people were known that they'd go into the emails and take it. Like this person was known to find the employees and stuff like that. So once you can get like one or two people that all do that kind of task, and then you have a little group and everybody has their own function in the group and you just let it go.
And I guess escalates and escalates. So when did
Yeah.
it become on the law enforcement's radar? Like, what was that journey?
Uh, They started watching me in like 2017, I'd say. I still to this day,
Hmm.
I don't really know how. Like I said, I met these guys. We all started doing it. Um, they ended up, law enforcement ended up, I think they started watching me in 2017. I had no idea at that point. Um, so we just started doing our hits and this and that. The one kid that got, he didn't even get caught. His mom called the cops on him for doing it.
No way.
And,
What happened there?
yeah, yeah. So we had just done like a pretty big hit. It might have been like the one of the $5 million ones that we did or something, but it was a
Hmm.
lot. And he, we did the hit, and the next day he disappeared. And I was like, okay, huge red flag. Like, why would he just go away? Like, that's his first big hit. Like, I knew the kid, like, from online. Like, he didn't really have money or anything like that, but he was able to find us a person who worked at the stores. So we paid him, I don't remember, a couple 100,000 probably. And he went away, like, disappeared for a month. Now to me, I'm like, that's a huge red flag. Like, why
Hmm.
would he just go away after getting his first hit, like first taste of real money, this and that? Turns out his mom called the cops on him for doing it. Like she overheard the conversation, she called the cops, and then this is initially when they started launching their investigation, I'd say, because remember I told you my alias, I went by Wolverine?
Yeah.
So there was a hacking group called like VV3 or something. They tried to extort me for like crypto and like one of my gamer tags because I had the gamer tag boss and they
Hmm.
wanted that
Heard of that.
tag
Yeah.
and then they wanted my crypto. And I was like, screw off. Like that's not going to happen, man, you know? So
How did they try
with
to extort
that, oh, they got my IP address from like an old Skype account that I had.
you?
And then you were able to like ISP docs back in the day, which is like,
Hmm.
once you get your IP address, you were able just to call the ISP pretty much and fake as an employee, give them the IP, and then they pretty much just read off the information that they're giving.
Yeah.
So they ISP docs me, they got my docs, and then that's kind of where I stopped using an alias because now I had two choices. I could have just disappeared, came back as somebody else, or just kept going as me. And I chose to just keep going as me. So my docs was out there.
Yeah.
This kid's mom called the cops. So now
How old
all they
was
have
the
to,
kid?
under 18. I know he wasn't an
Under 18.
adult. 16
And
maybe or 17, something like that. So now the cops are pretty much telling him, hey, continue working with them so we can build our case.
okay.
So I don't know any of this, but I didn't talk to him. He came back and messaged me, and I didn't respond because I was like,
Okay.
I know, something's off. Like this guy just took a month break. Like he comes back and now he wants to do more. Like that don't make any sense. And my buddy that was in the group with me, his name was Connor. He's like, no, I talked to him. Like everything's cool. He went on vacation. I'm like, dude, like you don't think he would have told us that he was going on vacation? Like that don't make any sense. He's like, no, no, I talked to him. I talked to him. Everything's good. I'm like, all right, like if you say so. So we continue doing our hits.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
I
Connor
think
was
we ended up
wrong.
doing like two more. We ended up doing two more hits. And then July 17th, one of my friends named Joel Ortiz, he was on that radar too. He got caught. And then the next day they came for me. But we're not on the same indictment, different indictments, different everything. Just
And what?
coincidentally.
h- How did they come for you? Was it early morning? Take us through
So
the
it
rundown.
was early morning. I was leaving for work. Cause keep in mind, I have a job while I do all this.
Right. Right.
I work for the county, like the city. I, clean the parks and, the water pipes that break. I clean the pipe or I fix the water
Yeah.
breaks and stuff like that. But I have a lot of downtime at that job. So in that downtime, I'm able to sit here on like a Skype call and this and that and, do sim swaps and, take usernames and stuff like that. All while I'm at a normal job. So like I'm kind of playing both fields. Like, okay, I can cover my ass a little bit with funding and I can go spend money because I do have a job. It's not going to pop up if I go spend, like $10,000. I have a job. I can prove that income.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so yeah, law enforcement comes. It's about 7 a.m. maybe 7:30 in the morning on July 18th.
You're living at home or
Um,
you're on your own at this
I'm
time?
living with my mom at this time.
Yeah. All right. And did your mum have any idea what was going on?
No, I would get mail, like, which is like my money coming in, like through the mail. and she would just put the envelopes on my bed. Like she's like, I'm not gonna go through your mail. Like, that's not my business. So she would just
Wow.
put the money that she doesn't even know is money, but she would just put the envelopes on my bed. But it's $100,000 coming in the mail at the time. Like,
Wow. In
so,
cash,
but she
obviously.
would have no 100,000 cash. Yeah.
Jesus. I
Yeah.
know someone once described the U.S. Postal Service to me as the biggest illicit trading network in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's actually
It
dangerous guys working
somehow,
it.
it somehow got through every single time. And it wasn't just one time. Like I was doing it like, you know, bi-weekly, monthly, like, just at a time. I had toys. I had, side by sides where you go off-roading, jet skis, two trucks. I had like there's a big show in Las Vegas for trucks. And I had bought one of those trucks. So this thing was huge, like a really nice done up truck. It was like $80,000 cash.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Right, right.
yeah, but my mom, she had no idea. When I came home with that truck one day, she's like, "What is going on?" I'm like, I invested in crypto back in the day. Like, I would, and it's
Make a
blowing up,
killing.
mom, so we're good. My mom was a nurse at the county jail, and she would
Right.
have deputies and people coming home and asking me about crypto. So I just
Wow,
have to
that
play it
becomes pretty
off like,
close.
yeah, I just have to play it off where like I'm some investor, like I knew what I was doing back in the day. So, but I'm smart with crypto, so I'm telling them like, hey, this is smart to do, what to do, and they're just taking my advice for it.
How ironic. Oh my God, you're
Yeah,
looking them straight in the eye. That must have been
yeah.
pretty exciting, though. That must have been pretty thrilling.
Well, yeah, because now you're facing law enforcement. They have no idea really what's going on. They think you're a legit investor, this and that, and on to the next day. Nobody knew.
Wow.
My
So
neighbors,
that
one
day
of my
they knock on the
neighbors
door.
asked
Oh,
me,
yeah.
one of my neighbors asked me, he's like, dude, he's like after I got arrested, he's like, dude, he's like, I knew like you weren't selling drugs because there was no traffic ever at your house. He's like, I wasn't sure if you were like some arms dealer or not because like uh, he knew I go out to like the mud holes and I go mudding and stuff. So he's like, I don't know if you were dealing like guns and stuff or what. He's like, I had no idea it was crypto. I'm like, yeah. So, but no, so they
Wow.
come, it's 7:30, July 18th. I go to walk out of my no. So my ex-girlfriend at the time goes to leave for work. She left a little bit before me. She goes down the road and she calls me. She's like, "Hey, there's a lot of cops down here." Because at that time I lived like by a cul-de-sac at my mom's house, and she was like, "Hey, there's a lot of cops in the cul-de-sac." And I'm like, all right, come on, because I remember my buddy just got arrested the night before, so I'm like, come back. So she comes back around the other way. She's like, yeah, they're all over there too on that side. I was like, all right, well, they're coming. So, so with that, I do what I got to do real fast, and then I walk out, and they just swarm from every direction, like cars and cars and cars. It was like FBI, Homeland Security, local PD. Um, they're in unmarked cars that like beat up trucks that you would never even expect to be a cop. And I have my work boots on. I'm getting ready to go to work. It's 7:30 in the morning. I'm tired. They're like, don't run, don't run. I'm like, listen, man, I'm not running anywhere. They're like, where are your guns? I'm like, they're inside. Like, whatever. So they just pull me right back inside. They search my house. They flip everything. They find a couple SIM cards, a burner phone. But that was really it. They didn't really find
Okay. So
like too much
not
at my
much
house.
evidence. Yeah. Okay.
No.
And what were you feeling at that point? Like, is the world crashing around you, or were
Man,
you kind of
yeah,
blasé?
yeah. Like, man, this was it. This was the run's over. At this time, I don't know. You could remember 2018, 17, 16. Like I said, crypto's, three, four, $5,000. It jumped up to like $20,000 at one time, which was crazy. But you know,
Hmm.
when you're running up millions of dollars at that time, I think we ended up getting like in just the three victims we had with the guy who ultimately, like his mom ended up like snitching on us. I think we ended up getting close to like 8 or 9 million.
Wow. Did that feel real? I mean, like, how many monster
Yeah,
trucks can
it
you
was
buy?
like surreal. It was like surreal. Like it was like, wow, like, is this really what it is? Like, you're a millionaire, Like,
Right.
you have such a feeling of like financial freedom where like you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about anything. bills, whatever you want to buy, you go buy. Like, and that mindset too is because you got to think you can go spend $100,000 on a car or, whatever. The next day,
Right.
you're still going to go hack something and you'll probably end up making that money right back. So it's kind of like a never ending cycle.
Yeah, sure. I get that. I get that. So they pull you, you go through
Yep.
the judiciary system. How long did it take you until you found
Yeah.
out your sentence?
So keep in mind, my mom was a nurse at that county jail. So when I get arrested, I know some of the guards, the nurses, they know me. They're like, what the hell happened? I was like, man, long story. So I end up bonding out the same day. Like my mom ended up calling the jail, like, hey, like, get him out. And we already paid a bondsman, so I think my bond was like $11,000. It was like 110 or 111,000. But I bond out right away. I'm like, get me out. So my mom's able to, bond me out and whatnot. So, I was only in county jail for like a couple hours, bonded out. Now we're waiting. This was 2018. I get a letter in the mail. My attorney, I hire an attorney. He gets a letter saying like the feds aren't going to prosecute me. It's going to remain state. But with that, the state is like, we have no idea how to prosecute this. Like it's
Right.
never been done. So like, what charges? Like they don't know. They try identity theft, and stuff like that, but there was never really anything found in my possession to do any of that. And they're asking me questions. I'm like, look, like I saw the information and I passed that information on to like the next guy. So like I wasn't saving people's information and stuff like that. So they're like, oh, who are all the victims? I'm like, I really don't know. I saw the information for 5 seconds. I sent it off to my guy and he completed the task and that was it. So,
And so you were ready to
um,
plead guilty, basically, like you were ready
yeah,
to
well, no,
take.
not at first. Of course, you want to, see what kind of deals they're going to give you. You start off not guilty and, stuff like that. I think I ended up giving them roughly 35 Bitcoin and about 1,000 Ethereum is what
Okay.
I gave back.
Okay.
And, um, that was 2018. Then let's say 2020, I find out like it's going federal now. Now the state has dropped their charges and now the
Mm,
feds have picked it up.
mm,
So in the end, I pled guilty to a conspiracy to commit wire fraud,
okay.
and it was about I got I got sentenced. Originally, they tried for like 90 months from me, but I was the last one sentenced, and the judge was like, "Why? Everybody else got like 41 months and less, and then they had me at 90, like over double that time."
Right.
And there was other guys who had more restitution than me and got under 41 months. So the judge was
Right.
like, why does this guy have less restitution, but more than double the time as everybody else? And they're like, oh, well, because of his age, like he knew what he was doing and, he was the leader of it. And the judge is like, I'm not doing that. She's like, I'm not giving a guy double the time based on his age. Like that doesn't make any sense.
Mhm.
And then like I'll be honest, my judge was thankfully really good. She questioned the prosecutors a lot more than she would
Mhm.
question me. Like, why are you doing this to him? Like, how did it go? This now. She wanted to really know like the story of how it went. And in the end, she's like, listen, I'm not giving him more than double the time. She's like, I'll give him the most time, which was 48 months. She's like, but I'm not going to give him more than double that time.
And what were you expecting?
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. 48
Like,
months.
so funny story. I got sentenced. I got sentenced for walking out of the courtroom. I'm not smiling, but I'm like, wow, like this is really good. I know the judicial system now, from a little bit before I went to prison, looking stuff up and everything, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, I'll do like 2 years out of this. Like, that's really not that bad.
Right. Okay.
So my mom and
And
my fiance now they're bawling their eyes out. They're so upset. They're crying, which I understand that, but they're like, why are you not upset? You have to go away. I'm like, listen, we knew I was going away regardless. Like, we knew that was a 90% chance I was going away, but I'm going to do 2 years and I'll be home. Like, that's really not that bad.
and where did you do your time and what was it granted?
So they put me in Miami. Like, it was, FCI Miami. It was a camp though, a satellite camp. So it
Mhm.
wasn't really like, it was just kind of like boring. Like you're
Right.
bored. That's it.
And there's repeat offender rates for people who do serious crime in the US is
Yeah.
like 75%. You count as serious crime, right? So what? But you didn't do that. You had a different experience, right? You were
Yeah.
inspired enough to find a different path. So what was your pivotal moment of changing your mindset?
I would say when I got arrested, it was kind of like, where do I go from here? Because I know I'm going to get time out of this. Like, I know I did wrong. What do I do now? I said, so, throughout, getting arrested, waiting all that time, because this is COVID time. So like all my court dates kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed all the way to 2022. I'm expecting like, hey, maybe I'll just get time served. I was on an ankle monitor. Um, I had curfew, ankle monitor, no problems, no nothing. Like everything was fine, but they still gave me the 4 years on top of all that, which was, I accepted it because I'm like, I did wrong. You know, I would say probably as I'm incarcerated where I'm like, I could use this as a stepping stone to bring awareness to stuff like this. Um,
Hmm.
because it's not who I am. Like I was younger, I was, all I saw was money. So that was the only thing that like motivated me. There was no like rational, like I wasn't trying to swat people or, extort them and
Right,
stuff like
right.
that. I was just, the money. That was it. I didn't want the, oh, I'm going to swat you. I'm going to extort you. Give me all your stuff. Like that wasn't me. Like I didn't care about that. I just wanted to get the money and get out. So
So
after I got
so what
home,
was your
after I
pathway
got
then?
home, I was like, okay, where do I go from here? Like, how do I navigate this system? I did a couple interviews with like Bloomberg. I did an interview with New York Times, and after New York Times, one of my a guy who I met, his name was Will. Um, former, he worked for the FBI and stuff. He's like, listen, I'm not working there anymore. He's like, I'm starting up a project that I really want you to be a part of. Um, So I met Will, and then I met all you guys at the hacking games, and you guys just all keep presenting me with more and more opportunities, which I'm so thankful for. It's just like now I can really scale this stuff because as far as cyber crimes, you have now all they're doing is to steal crypto is social engineering people. Like
Yeah, right,
there's
exactly.
there's no hacking to it, like at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
And all they're
But
doing is social engineering.
and you know what,
And it's
Ricky,
like
like
you need to bring
like
awareness. Like this stuff has to be brought to people's attention. And even like, I don't know if you're familiar with the React task force. I talked to, somebody in the React. I was close. She doesn't work there anymore. But her name was Erin. And she's like, listen, she's like, I can see like that's not who you are. I could see like
mm,
you're a genuine guy, like you want to turn your life around. She's like, I think I could use you as far as, going to conferences and stuff like that, speaking to like law enforcement, speaking to people to bring awareness to these kind of situations because ultimately that's what needs like the word has to get out there, otherwise it's never going to stop.
so
So
when you were incarcerated, there would have been many opportunities for you to learn other skills from other people who had more of a criminal mind.
yeah,
But
no.
you didn't do that. But and you would have been faced with it. So what was it that stopped you doing
Yeah, it's not who I am. Like I realized like, listen, if I first of all, if I get caught again for doing anything stupid, like it's not going to be a little 2 year sentence like that.
that? Right.
So I have family, I have 2 kids, fiance, it's not worth, even risking anything like that.
And
Like
your eldest
the
kid,
money is
your
good. The money's good. The problem is the money. Like ultimately it comes down to the money because you present a 16-year-old with a couple $1 million, they're going to take the couple $1 million. And there's no telling them no or trying to steer them away from it. They're going to do what they got to do to get that money.
totally.
And if you can catch them before that stage, is kind of like where you kind of have to focus on that age group of if they're too far gone, 16, 17, 18, they're not going to listen. They just won't care.
So you've said a few times that it's just not who you are, and I believe and I know that to be true. Um, but when you were committing the crimes, why why didn't you feel empathy for the victim?
They're rich. First of all, they're already rich.
Right. Okay.
So And if they
Robin
have their
Hood's
money in, if they have their money in crypto, they're not living off that. Like that's not like
right.
you're not like I'm sure we could have went in there like we took their emails and all their phone numbers and stuff. We could have went into their bank accounts and stuff and probably took that too. But we just focused on the crypto because like I said, it was very vague. There was like what crime is that? Now you steal a bank account or something like that, that's fraud. Like we knew that as fraud. Growing up, everything you know that as fraud.
Mm,
Crypto, it was so uncharted where like what exactly crime is it?
yeah. Because it's interesting, and I, you grew up obviously with a mom who, although she's a nurse, she's around the judiciary system, and as a nurse, she would have been in service, she would have been looking after people. I mean, from your childhood, were there any like pathways that were opened up to you where, you could make a call of committing a crime? I mean, was it totally opportunistic that you came across it?
No, just opportunity. Like I said, I was always liking to have like that original name or that cool Instagram handle and stuff like that. It's kind of like a flex at that point, like nobody else can get it. You're getting, follower requests every day, ads every day of people with that same name who want that name from you and they can't get it because you have it, but you took it.
So the motivator there was like, I guess like competitive respect, like you've got something that everyone wants. There's like a
Yeah.
FOMO of everyone else, and also
Yeah.
you're
Everybody
getting like
wants the cool
rewarded by
stuff.
the minute. Yeah.
Everybody wants the cool stuff, boss, devil, gang, like all those really, really cool words. Like, even till today, people want it. Like it's, it's crazy that they still have that same mindset.
And what would have stopped you? What could have happened that would have redirected you away from this path before you got so significant?
Probably sports. I'd probably say that would have been the only thing that would have stopped me is if I had to focus more on like sports and college and stuff rather
Mm.
than having all the free time and seeing what else I can figure out and how to do it and stuff like that. Because when you get bored, you just kind of navigate. You kind of look for other stuff and go down another rabbit hole.
And I mean, look, it's in talking to you, you're obviously like a super high IQ. I mean, you can just hear it in how you look at problems and how you frame them. But was high school not delivering on your like intellect in any way? Like,
No, so I was kind of that cocky athlete, like I didn't really like whatever. Like my goal was like I had to have like a 2.0 to play baseball. So I was like, freshman and sophomore year, I'm young, I'm good. I'm playing varsity level at freshman sophomore age, and I'm like, wow, I'm good. Like so my bare minimum was like I just need a 2.0. Like I don't care. But then like when
sure,
you junior year, senior year, you're kind of like, okay, well, college, this and that, you need good grades. So I think I had like a over a 3.0 GPA growing up, but it wasn't like I'm not book smart. Like even now, like I could go get cybersecurity certificates, but like they're gonna teach me book smart stuff, and I'm like, what does that do? Like first of all, the books are probably outdated. Like nobody cares, and I could probably run circles around all those people learning book smart because they don't know anything that's bad.
right,
Like,
exactly.
if you
You know,
know
it,
the
we
bad, if you know the bad, you know how to stop the bad. They're learning
right.
good to stop the bad. Doesn't make any sense.
So we talk about that a lot. We talk about the asymmetric war, where it's like the good guys right now are all learning in college and they're learning like government certificate programs and they're like
Yeah,
thinking firmly inside the box. Guess where the bad guys are not? The bad guys are not on college. They're not on LinkedIn. They're
no.
not
And
they're
we're
not,
thinking, we're thinking outside of the box.
totally, 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 totally.
So
But
I guess it would be good for me to get certs so like for like legitimate sakes and stuff like that. But like I just don't care enough to go sit down at a school and learn book smart stuff. Like I just know
so
like too much.
would would you say, Ricky, that you're technical? Would you say that you're like a programmer? You're like a coder?
No, I wouldn't even say I know I dabbled into it like a little bit, but it's more of like security, how to like one-on-one, peer-to-peer, like hey, this is how you have to do it, or a company, like a company or peer-to-peer, like hey, this is what you have to learn for, this is what you have to look for, this is what you guys got to do as far like technical support, like a company's technical support, even if they're let's say I mean I can't even use Google because they've been hacked recently too. So let's say I don't even know what company. Let's just say a company is super, super, super secure in their coding, but an employee clicks on a link or they get social engineered for one thing, and that's it. And no matter how secure their website is or their hosting, if they use a really shitty hosting, and you can take the hosting, and that's just as good as getting into the website. So there's like different avenues where if you have like a one symmetrical mind of, oh, we have to make sure our website's flawless, now you forgot about the other three ways that somebody could get around
Yeah.
it.
In one of our podcasts, I interviewed Jeff Mann, and Jeff was the founder of the NSA's Red Teams, right? So the hacking teams. And he's an amazing guy. And Jeff, I said to him, "Hey Jeff, you must be super technical, right?" And he looked at me and was like, "I'm not technical." He said, I'm a puzzle solver. Like when I was a kid, I used to play with the wooden puzzles, like Rubik's
Yeah.
cubes type stuff. And he was like, I just work how to join all the dots and make something happen. It just happens that there
Yeah.
might be some technology involved, but 80% of it is people. It's
That's it.
mostly
It's
social
all people.
engineering.
It's all social engineering, phishing, and stuff like that are the major flaws of cybersecurity now. Because like I said,
Yeah,
who cares if your website's flawless of hosting? Let's say I can't find anything on it, but I can call. A lot of companies too, another big flaw is like you have USA support, you have international support, and then you can learn from one call, like how they talk, you can kind of pick that up. And like for me, like an example, like I was able to call an international support as a US representative and going through someone's hosting that way because I couldn't get into their, like, me and my buddies couldn't get it through the website to mirror the homepage of the website,
yeah.
they were good, but their hosting was not good, and we just went right around through the hosting, and that was it.
Hey, when you were a kid, you obviously were a gamer. You started on Halo, but like, when did you start playing games? What kind of games were you playing, and to what extent do you think that informed how you think about doing the hacking?
I played Halo was like my game. Everybody wanted to be a Halo pro, like Halo MLG pro. Call of
Yeah,
Duty
yeah.
was cool, but like Halo was it. I was really good at Halo too. Like I went to some events and stuff like that. I gamed, but it just got to the point where like gaming is cool. Like my Xboxes would be banned weekly because I would steal someone's account. I would use that name on my account, and then they would call their account and stolen, and my Xbox would get banned. So like it was
Okay.
always a constant battle of my Xbox is always banned, but hacking never stops. But my consoles
Right.
would get banned. I'd have to go to the store, get a new console, and stuff like that. Just repeat the cycle.
And were you modding games? Were you modifying games? Were you
No,
developing
I,
aimbots? And you weren't doing
no, not like that. But I hated that. That's another reason aimbotting, where like if somebody was aimbotting me, I would just DDoS you.
that. Right, right. So you would up the game. You'd go one bit higher. And
Yeah.
what about your kids? Tell us, I mean, don't give us their names, but tell us about their ages.
Yeah.
And do you recognize a bit about in your brain how they are? Can you see
Yeah,
differentiate
so
that at all?
my daughter's 11. She just started middle school, but she's in AP math.
Hmm.
My little one's
Explain
4.
explain that explain that to people who are not familiar.
Yeah,
I guess
so
AP
she's in
Math.
advanced placement for math. She just started her middle school. I have full custody of my kids.
Great,
I'm with my fiance who has me and my little one, my 4-year-old, but my daughter is with
great.
another
Yeah,
lady, and I have full custody of her, all through the court systems and everything like that.
congrats.
So thank you. But yeah, she's with me full time. And she's super smart. She's super talented drawing wise. She's an artist. Like she can really draw. Um, she's an advanced placement for math, and she's not, her reading is fine. It's on level, but like she's not advanced reading. And I was never advanced reading either.
Hmm.
I was better at math than I was at my reading. And
Yeah,
I could see
okay.
that in her. I'm not an artist whatsoever, but she's really good at art and everything like that. My little
And is she a
one,
gamer? Is she a gamer?
no, no. I don't even try to do that because I don't want them being exposed to anything like online.
Okay, talk to me about that then. That's really important. So how
Yes,
do you
I just
feel? What are you
know,
worried about?
not, there's just weirdos. Like there's weirdos like out there who, she doesn't really play Roblox. She used to play Roblox and stuff like that, but like that game is just terrible for, kids, and there's people on there that like, I guess docs and stuff like that, the kids, they're 11 years old. They don't know any better. Oh, hey, I live here, hey, I live near Tampa, this and that. So you just never know who's on the other end of that. And, I'd rather, she doesn't care to do it. So I'm not even going to try
Sure.
to present it to her. And the little one's
Uh,
4, so he doesn't even know what anything is.
yeah. He's just loving mum and dad. So
Yeah.
what advice are you going to give your daughter, both of your kids as they get older? Because the threat of being a victim is one thing, but the threat of being groomed by hacking communities and cyber gangs is so high for these kids.
Yeah.
Like, what advice are you going to be giving them?
Thankfully, like my family, not like my fiance and stuff, like my kids, like I'm able to like lock down their kind of stuff because I don't want to be a target of anything like that
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
then like I'd get really pissed off. So,
Hmm.
um, I feel like as long as she just stays away, I do tell her, listen, there's bad people out there. Like, don't give your information out. Like, the normal dad talk, hey,
Sure.
don't give your information out. You never know who's on the other end of that mic or, who, you don't know who you're texting, like, Snapchat and stuff. Like, don't add random people. Like, if you don't know them, don't add them. Like, just stay
Right,
away.
right, right, right. Yeah, I
But I
mean,
feel like that's like your just typical dad. Like, that's your dad talk.
but what's funny or not funny? It's not funny, but like when I was a kid, and you probably had the same. I was brought up like if you go to the playground, don't go and talk to the drug dealer in the hoodie. Don't get in the
Yeah.
car with the white middle-aged guy with the puppies or the
Yeah.
or the Candy
Here's some
Crush stranger
candy.
danger. Yeah. But like actually like only parents who have been scarred understand what to tell their kids to do on gaming platforms. And that is where, look, I mean, the data is unbelievable, right? 3.2 billion people play games a year. 3.2 billion, right?
Yeah.
It's the same size as soccer globally. Gen Z, 93% of Gen Z, your daughter's generation, play games. 93%. And they play
Wow.
114 minutes a day on average.
Wow.
114 minutes on average. So like that is their world, man. Like it's not like a few little weird gamers playing Call of Duty. Like no, this is the majority. And the guys who worked it out are the bad guys. The bad guys are on there grooming the kids and finding them and working
Yeah.
out who's talented, who's vulnerable, and who's neurodiverse.
Yeah.
And so as parents, we gotta step up and understand the world our
Yeah.
kids are
It
living
starts with the parents. It starts with
in.
the
Yeah, oh yeah,
parents. And yeah, you could say they're young. Like mine's 11. She's about to be 12. She's young, but
yeah,
like it doesn't matter because you still at that age, like they don't know better. So you have to bring awareness to them as a kid. Like,
totally.
hey, this is what could happen. There's bad people out there. Everybody's not your friend. Don't give your information out, your phone number, where you live. Don't do any of that.
Look, listen, and here's the stats about it. 69% of European teenagers have committed a cybercrime. 69%. The
Wow.
average age of someone arrested for serious crime is 37. The average age of someone arrested for cybercrime is 19, right?
Yeah.
And Scattered Spider, who you'll be familiar with, the four guys who got arrested for hacking the biggest retailers in Europe, cost $1 billion. They were 17, 19, and 20. So if you're
Yeah.
arrested at 17, you are weaponized at least a year and a half before that, so 15 and a half,
Yeah.
which means you've been playing around and messing about and hacking for a couple of years before that. So it is 12 years old. That's
Yeah,
what we found out.
they're experienced. Yeah, they're those kind of people right there that are doing like the scatter spiders. They're they know what they're doing a little bit.
So what was your experience of the con? I mean, it's there's headlines about you saying that you were part of it, whatever it is. Like, what's real?
Yeah.
What's your view on
So my view on the calm is like when I got arrested, the headlines, like justice.gov, international hacking group, the community, you know, it was never, that's not what it was. It was more of just a group of guys. The comm is so big. You have, everything online is considered the comm. You have Instagram, Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, gaming, and everybody, the usernames to this, the selling of the usernames, that's all the comm, like the community. That's just what it's
it?
called.
Right,
It's
right.
not like they try to make us seem like we were this international hacking organization and
Right.
that's not what that was. Okay.
What is
So
it?
like,
How would you describe it then? It's like an amorphous group of people who just bump into
yeah,
each other.
the best way I could describe it was like, You have a mobile home park. Inside that mobile home park, you have friend groups and stuff like that. The mobile home park is the community.
Right.
But inside that community, you have friends. And that's all it was. Like, and it's not even really friends. It's just people you know online. Like you don't meet these people like in real life. I mean, I guess you could. Some of them did. Like they went, they'll go to California, they'll party, they'll flex, they'll buy a bunch of bottles and cars and rent a mansion and all that kind of stuff. So I guess they do build friendships out of it, but um the calm isn't just one specific group. That's just not what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. It's easy to brand, isn't it? The media love to brand this stuff and give it
Oh
names.
yeah, yeah.
This,
Once justice.gov put that out, then international hacking group. I mean, like the spiders are in the column, but they're the scattered spiders. They're not,
yeah. Yeah, I get it. I get it. So listen, when did you come out? When did you come out of incarceration?
Yeah, so I was released, I want to say it was like the end of May of 2020, May 27th or something like that of 2024. End of May
Wow.
2024 is when I released. I
And
was able to come straight home.
right,
I
right.
didn't have
And
to go to a
what
halfway house.
does life look like for you now, Ricky? Like, and
No,
what's the
life is
future?
good. My family's healthy, my kids are healthy. Like, those are the two of the main big things. Like everybody, we got past that dark time. Everybody's happy. I'm home. Um, family's all happy. Family's good, healthy. Um, so
And
I'm blessed for
professionally,
that.
what are you
I was
kind of
able, so coincidental, I don't work right now, but I was able to get my CDL while I was in prison. So I do have that. But that's not my passion is, just in the cyber field. So
right?
it's hard getting in because of like my background and stuff and like
Mm.
the specific details that like I know, like my knowledge is not book smart. I'm not certified and stuff like that. But like I said, that doesn't like, what does that mean? That doesn't really mean anything.
Well, you're
As far
obviously
as
very
like,
good at it.
yeah, like I said, I think like my calling is more for in somewhere in the cyber field, bringing awareness. If I'm good talking, I can go talk at like a convention or something like that, and bring awareness, spread awareness. So I think that's where I'm trying to lean towards, and just get my name out there more and more, and hope for the best.
Well, listen, Ricky, I think to be honest, your story is, first of all, it's a human story. What I love is that, if I was to reflect on it, it was like a boy who grew up like, in a single parent home, I guess, but with like, a mom who was like in service for the community.
Yeah,
It wasn't like it was, a home with guns and
yeah,
drugs running through it, I'm guessing. And
no,
you were bored and you had a bit of rejection in the sporting world and your kind of intellect didn't fit this tiny little box that the national curriculum education system makes up. And then you found your way to making money online in a dislocated way that ended up in jail. But it's so clear that you've got so much self-awareness and understood. Like I don't hear anger. I don't
no.
hear like the system screwed me, blah blah blah.
No, no. I mean, like I said, it is what it is. I did it. I knew I was wrong. I know it's wrong. Now I just want to try to help. And that wasn't who I am. Like, I made a
Yeah.
mistake. I'm not gonna justify it as I was younger. But I made a mistake. I screwed up, and all you can do is learn from it. And now I have the knowledge. I have the power to spread awareness and you know help people now so they don't fall victim to like the stuff that I was doing.
And here's the thing, like a 15-year-old Ricky was identified as someone who is like highly talented and really, really, really like an amazing problem puzzle solver. And they were provided a pathway of like, hey, here's some skills development, here's a mentor, here's an apprenticeship, here's a pathway where you can make legitimate cash. I don't know if that would walk you away from the $15 million you reputedly kind of guys got away with. No one's paying you that at 15, but maybe 5 out of 8 Rickies would have found a
Yeah.
different pathway.
And it's not a bad idea. And like I said, I've talked to, some people at the hacking games and stuff like that and, Noah and, all them. And I told them like, listen, the biggest thing too is like you have companies who don't pay for like bug bounty. Like they advertise bug bounty, but like mobile carriers and stuff like that, like I'm not gonna talk like specifics, but like me and my friend have like did like recent, not recent, but like not like a year ago, like it was within since I've been out, and they offered him a t-shirt and a hat for like they got like he got into like the 17 million, but like I said, it was all bug bounty, like nothing sketchy like that. He reported it,
Yeah, sure.
showed them everything, and no payment. Like, but that data could have been sold for millions of dollars to hackers,
Right.
and all you guys do is give a t-shirt and a hat, which
Yeah.
is
That's awesome.
but that right there could a company that big could pay a decent bug bounty to make it worth it to steer, even if it's one person away from hacking and make them say, wow, this is, I can make good money being ethical, but they just
Look, I
don't, they
mean,
just don't do it.
that we can definitely talk about that separately because
Yeah.
we have some really good people on our network. Casey Ellis, who's the founder of BugCrowd, is
Oh yeah.
a big part of the hacking games, and I know
Yep.
he has a similar belief. But listen, man, I'm so glad you're part of the community. There's immediately some people I want to put you in touch with for what you do next. I think you'll
Yeah.
find that the labor market is going to change for unconventional talent, which is what you are,
I
like
hope so.
uncertified. But people want,
Yeah.
in the Second World War, uh, we got the upper hand over the Germans in partnership with the Americans because Winston Churchill found these corkscrew mines. And a corkscrew mine is someone who thinks in a very different way. And he found them and he found a collection of them. They're actually pretty autistic, neurodivergent, brilliant people that he put into a unit called Bletchley Park. And they're the guys who cracked the Enigma code, which was the Germans' communication codes. And that is the basis of cryptography. That is the basis of like the hacking industry. And what I'm hearing from um, defense companies, security companies, governments, technology companies is they are full of mediocre minds. They
Yeah.
have one of the big tech companies told me the other day that they have 700 qualified applicants for one cyber role, right? But they are mediocre, and what they want are the corkscrew minds, the unconventional minds, the people who see things differently, the people who've got real world
Yeah.
experience. So I think the industry is moving, and I think for people like you, you've still got time on your side, and you've got great real life experience. I think you'll see the world will change, and
Yeah.
you'll be
I
demanded.
really hope so. Cause like I said, it's kind of like I did bad. Now I want to do good. Like I want to show people awareness of this. Like, show them like, hey, you don't have to fall victim to this. Like,
Yes,
this
sir.
like a lot of it is in crypto, but like it's still the same thing as a company. Like don't get social engineered, don't get phished, like stuff like that.
Sure.
Like people, I don't want to see people lose millions of dollars in crypto. Like every week, you see somebody getting hacked for millions and millions of dollars. Like I don't want to see that. Like, but it's just you fell victim to a social engineer attack. Like the basic of
Yeah. It
the
happens all
basic.
the time. Happens all the time. All the time.
I
The
know.
biggest hacks of the retailers here in Europe would literally social engineer. They called up the IT help desk. You know,
Yeah,
just basically.
exactly.
But man, I'm excited about all the stuff we can do together. Thank you so much for sharing
No, I
your
appreciate it, Fergus. Yeah, for
time
real.
with me.
Thank you. Thank you for the chance, the opportunity, and hopefully we see where this goes from here.
Yeah, I love it, man. Thank you. Thank you. Together we'll create a generation of ethical hackers to make the world safer. That's the mission.
Yes, I hope
That's
so.
the mission.
I hope so.
Cool, dude. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You can stay on for a bit. We'll cut it there. Thanks,
Okay,
man. That
cool.
was awesome. You talk really well, and you talk in a very human way, and I think a lot of people are going to relate to you. So this is what I'm thinking in my head, Ricky. There's some media stuff that will definitely put you forward for. I
Yeah.
would really like if I was going to give you any advice on what this next part of your life looks like. I would think of the media as marketing for you, but not as a job, because it's hard to really sustain continuous income on the media stuff.
Oh yeah.
Just think of it as marketing for you. The more you do,
So that's kind of what I said because like my mom, my fiance, they're like like because at first they were kind of like just let it go, like don't do it, and stuff like that. And I'm like no, like I want to do it. Like so like one opportunity led to another opportunity, which led to another opportunity,
yeah,
and like that's why I do it because eventually like something will come out of it eventually. So like like you said, like use it as like not marketing, but like, as if I put myself out there more and more,
Totally.
then somebody is like you just said, like, you can tell like I'm a good talker, like I know what I'm talking about, I'm very knowledgeable, and I know the bad, which is good. So
Yeah,
somebody
totally.
eventually will be like, hey, like I want to talk to this kid, and
So I think there are a bunch of like red teaming pen testing companies that really look for kind of people who've had a pretty, what, a criminal background.
yeah,
And I'm going to have a chat with my co-founder Don, and he has the good network of these guys. But I think you should meet with these guys because I think your skills would be well suited, and it's pretty well paid. If
yeah,
that's the world you wanted to go down.
that's all. That's like I said, I just want opportunity. Like I said, even if, red team, obviously I'm always down it. Like that's fun. Like that, I still get excited from that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
even as far as, awareness, just, a company that needs somebody, like a cybersecurity company that needs somebody to talk at conventions, law enforcement, whatever the case may be, like,
Yeah, yeah,
I can do that. I can talk. But no, of course, red team is awesome. Like I would love to do that too.
there's a couple of guys that got in mind. So leave it with me,
Yeah.
and we'll come back to you. But also what I would love is so we have a data platform that we're building called Haptai, the Hacking Aptitude AI platform, that basically builds a aptitude picture of like people like you actually,
Yeah.
but not based on certificates and LinkedIn and resumes and all that bullshit. But we look at their performance in gaming. So we have profiled 100 games from like Valiant to Call of Duty to Stanley
Yeah.
Parable, Sims, whatever. We look at their modding, we look at their hacking, then we look at any CTFs and bug bounties, any vulnerability disclosures they've done, like the one you guys just did. And
Yeah.
then we have a psychographic platform from Oxford University that looks at their levels and how they think and their neurodivergence particularly. The levels of neurodivergence are super high in the best, and probably you have some elements in there that makes you see patterns that other people don't see,
Yeah.
and that's a real asset, by the way. That's what we're asked for all the time. So, but we should run you through it, and for two reasons. Number one, it'll help you see where you are at because
Yeah.
you what it does is go, oh, you should try these types of jobs. But number two, it would be a great co-marketing tool because Marcus Hutchins is going to go. Do you know Marcus? Are you familiar with who that is?
I feel like I've heard that name.
He's the guy who he basically saved the internet because the North Koreans hacked healthcare systems in 25 countries around the world.
Okay.
And he was like a dope smoking 17-year-old surfer in the middle of nowhere. And he found the kill switch. And so he became super famous, front cover of Wired magazine. But then he got arrested by the FBI and he got a 10-year jail sentence
Wow.
for because he wrote malware when he was 13 years old that was used for serious financial crime. So he's like he's a part of our company. He's a very famous guy, and so he's going to go through it. And what it would be is we'll have haptai profiles of people who have lived real life. You know,
Yeah.
so like you can have your haptai profile, and you can like we could do a little podcast like this, and you can talk about it. Hey, this is what that means to me, and this is true. I was surprised by this. So I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
It could be a nice piece for you as well.
Yeah, no, I'm down. Yeah.
Cool, nice one.
Yeah.
All right, man. But listen, I'm going to leave you to your Sunday with your family. I'm so grateful for you
Cool.
doing this.
Yeah, no, like I said, I appreciate the opportunity and, I'm always down to do, talk, meet new people and, network and whatever the case may be. Like I said, eventually I hope something can come out of it, but, I don't want to see like my talent and my knowledge go to waste. Like that would suck.
No, we're not going to let that happen.